Hi, everybody. My name is Angie Refo. I am one of the the election nomination committee members, along with Adrian Carroll and Lisa Cruey. So we are here to meet the candidates for the 2025 IAACE election. So if we just want to go around, anybody can start. If you would just say your name, your region, and how many years you've worked in adult education and in what capacity.
Okay, I'll start. This is David Shepard, and I am with Neo Adult Ed in Region 1 up in Northwest Indiana. And I have been in adult education for this is my 28th year. And I have taught ABE primarily, but also ELL in my past and Fast Track as well.
Thank you, David. Would anybody else like to go second, or do you just want me to name people to go?
I'll
I'll go
go.
second. I'm Dustin Bentz. I am the Director of Education for Jennings County Schools. This is my fourth year in adult education and 15th or 16th year overall in education.
Hello, my name is Hannah Price. I work for Vincent University and I am the Indiana Online Only Adult Education Coordinator for the state of Indiana. I have been with adult education for 10 years, but in education much longer, master's degree in special education and English language acquisition. So education is definitely, my life. So, and I don't know if I said I'm Region 8.
Hi, my name is Amy Tolbert. I am from Region 7. I worked in DOC 4 years, but I've been in culinary arts for the last 2 years.
Hello, my name is Maeve Warwick. I'm from Region 5. This is my fifth year in adult education. I've worked as a ELL teacher, a life coach, and the HSE supervisor.
Hi, I'm Jane Erica Coulter. I've worked for Madison Correctional Facility in adult education as their ABE instructor for 2.5 years now, and I've been in education outside of adult education for over a decade now.
Hi, my name's Lindsay Stillman, and I am Region 8 with Wagler Education and Training Center. I have been in education since 2011, but adult education for 2 years now, working in corrections, HSC, as well as adult education certifications.
Hi, I'm Julianne Nisevich. I am a Region 1 advocate, and I have my degree in secondary education and English literature. I've been in education for about a dozen years and have served in the adult ed community for 2 years now. I teach ESL, ELL classes, and I also am my nonprofit NEO's professional development facilitator.
Hello, my name is Abby Martin, and I am with the Clinton County Adult Education at the Learning Network in Region 4. I have been in adult education since 2017 as an HSE instructor and a site coordinator.
Hi, I'm Mark Freidmaker. I've been in education for the last 37 years. I was in K through 12 until I've been this last year. I've been in adult education, and I'm in Region 1.
Hi, my name is Leo, Region 2, Warsaw Adult Education. I've been in education for 3 years and a part of adult education 1 year in July. So not yet a year.
Hello, my name is Laura Ellsbrock, and I'm with Area 30's Adult Education Program in Greencastle, Indiana. That's Region 7. And I've been with adult education since 2013. So coming up on 13 years, a little over 13 years.
Okay, was that all of our nominees, or are we missing anybody? All right, very good. All right, so we're going to start with the board members first that are running for the board. And the question that we have for you is, why do you desire to be an IAACE board member? So we will start with Hannah.
All right, got my mute off so you can hear what I say. Whenever I considered being a board member this year, I had actually been approached about it from a board member last year in a recruitment effort to get more members on the board or more members on the ballot. And it really sparked an interest. I've been an IAACE member since I started adult education 10 years ago. And what IAACE does for advocacy and just the information that they send down the pipeline to IAACE members and the adult education community, and just being a part of the collective hive brain that IAACE is. The board is always made up of a very impressive collective, an eclectic group of people, different experiences, backgrounds, expertise. And adult education is where my passion lies. Advocacy, I have seen in the last couple of years what the advocacy that IAACE has stood behind has done for adult education and workforce development. And I really want to continue to push that mission forward and be part of that team that does that.
Thanks, Hannah. Next, we have Amy. Why do you desire to be an IAACE board member?
My answer is pretty basic. I really would love to be a board member just so I can learn more about the IAACE and adult education. I've attended 2 conferences so far. I love the conferences. They're very well put on, very well ran program, and I really just want to learn more about it.
Thanks, Amy. Next, we will have Jane.
Yeah, hi. I've been a member of IAACE for 2.5 years now, and I really enjoy collaborating with others, and I appreciate that IAACE helps all the adult educators come together and share ideas and continue education, and I'd love to be a part of that. And I appreciate that it advocates for adult education in our state. And I'd like to be a part of collaborating and serving the mission that IAACE has towards those ends.
Thanks, Jane. Next, we will have Lindsay.
I would like to be a board member because throughout my years in education, I have found that I have really pushed for the advocacy for my students when so many else would not. And I don't want to lose that in any kind of bigger picture. I want to keep that up, as well as keeping the fluidity of what we do, keeping it being bogged down from getting our students what they need the most versus everything being lumped under just one, here it is, everybody has to do it. I also feel like I could bring some very unique perspectives from our region and the little countryside that we live in.
Very good. Thanks, Lindsay. Next, we'll have Julianne.
Hi. Okay. I'd like to be a part of this primarily because of the community that I have felt when I've been at the conferences the last 2 years. I was also very impressed, as everyone else has said. But I was not only impressed with how it was put on, but watching the people, thinking there's a very clear difference between those who are in it, in the weeds of it, and they're helping to put this on, and they are well informed, and they're advocates. And I thought, I want to do that. I want to be a part of this community, the inner community that's helping make this happen and helping to advocate and helping to bring in newer teachers like myself from 2 years ago to say, look at all that we have to offer. I really like the community aspect of being a part of kind of something bigger than just my little classroom.
Thanks, Julianne. Next, we will have Abby.
Hello. So this year I was able to go to my first IAACE conference that I thought was great. The networking there was awesome. And then I was also able to go to the Advocacy Day at the State House, which was put together wonderfully. So for me to see those things in action, kind of put things in perspective, it kind of makes you want to become a part of what is going on. I am also our PDF for our facility. I love sharing my knowledge and experience, and I think that serving on the board is a chance to give back, to collaborate with others, and a way for me to kind of help other people grow professionally, and me to grow professionally also just by the networking.
Thanks, Abby. Next, we'll have Mark.
Hello. In my past, I've been involved in many of the organizations that support schools at K through 12 level. And so I wanted to, getting involved with the adult education, I think is very, very important, because I believe that the advocacy that really needs to be given is done through IAACE, and I wanted to get involved with that. I really believe in lifelong learning, and I believe that it's got to committed to ensuring that every adult has a great opportunity. And I see that IAACE really supports that. And I think it's very, very important. And I just want to be a part of that to make sure that we are giving everything that we can for our adult educators and the adult educated people.
Thank you, Mark. Next, we'll have Leo.
Hello, everybody. First and foremost, I want to apologize about my background. I'm sure you've already realized that I'm in a vehicle. We're on our way to O'Hare, so I apologize about any background noise, or the camera continuing to zoom in and out. Again, my name is Leo, Region 2, newly appointed Director for Warsaw Adult Education. I've learned so much this year in this short time that I've been with adult education. I feel that it's been eye-opening. I was one of those people that was not aware of adult education. So I echo what the other candidates are saying when it comes to advocacy and awareness. I've been doing a lot of that in our area for Kosciuszko County and Fulton County in Region 2, Northern Indiana. And it is something that I'm super passionate about when it comes to opportunity and education. I myself have gone through adult learning, and so for me, I think it's representation matters, and it's important to be able to have somebody that can be relatable, that can advocate for those students that are thinking, hey, maybe this isn't the thing for me, when in reality, it can be, it should be, and I want to be part of that advocacy and awareness. I know that. One of the things that we talk about in our state meetings is the ELL population. So in that sense, I think I'm a pretty good candidate to try to advocate for those individuals and just being able to bring that awareness and connect resources to our community, to who our students are in our communities. So yeah, and like somebody else mentioned, just being able to network with the rest of you who have years of experience, I think it would be great to be able to learn from, to be able to bring my talents to the table and just continue the efforts of advocacy and awareness of IAACE.
Thank you, Leo. And last but not least, Laura.
Hello. Just making sure I got my mute off there. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Well, again, my name's Laura Elsbrock, and I'm with Area 30's Adult Education Program in Region 7. What interests me most in the board is just the ability to really step up and try and help other folks that are getting started in adult education. I came to adult ed from an outside arena, a different type of work. And so in learning what I've learned over the last 13 years, I've really relied heavily on some mentors in the industry and spent a lot of time collaborating with other instructors initially, then moved into the PDF role and really loved what we were able to kind of put together there and began to develop deep friendships and collaborative opportunities through that process. As a adult education coordinator, I've really enjoyed seeing our students be able to move forward in their lives, and I'm very passionate about helping them to make great decisions and move forward so that they can achieve their goals and their dreams. I would love to work with the collaboration team and also work on the advocacy board if I were chosen.
Thanks, Laura. Now we're going to move on to our secretary position candidates. So we have the same question for Maeve. So why do you desire to be the secretary for the IAACE Board of Directors?
Hi, yes. So I've had the pleasure of the past year of being on the board of directors. I've really enjoyed the opportunities that I've had to give back to our adult education community. I think that the power of adult education is that when we're investing in our adults, we see the investment in the kids and then the community as a whole. And that's what initially drew me into adult education. I would like to be the secretary because I think it well suits my skill set. I'm a very behind the scene person. I'm good at organizational tasks and getting things done in that regard. And I think that being the secretary, I can better serve our adult education community and support the board in whatever needs they may have.
Thanks, Maeve. Is Sheila on, Jen, or no? Okay. So we're going to move on to our two candidates that are running for president-elect. So we will start with David. Why do you desire to be the IAACE president-elect?
Well, in the past year, I've been a board member and have been awestruck by the caliber of people that serve on the board. And it has served me to be inspired enough to do something that is somewhat out of my usual comfort zone. But as I'm getting older, I've learned to embrace challenge and change. And I said yes to the opportunity to be a nominee for president-elect of IAACE. And I would look forward to being able to expand and develop more so my leadership skills. And I would love to do anything to move IAACE through this time of challenge too, with funding challenge. And I just think there is no better place to be to call work your home, your second home, and IAACE is it.
Thanks, David. And then we have Dustin. Dustin, why do you desire to be the IAACE president-elect?
Yeah, thank you. So I've sit on the board also for the last year as a treasurer and just kind of seen different avenues. I just completed the State Adult Leadership Institute with COABE and taken the skills I've learned from that along with the treasurer position and being able to apply it. We have some big things coming up. COABE in 2026, hosting that. That's going to be a big deal that we really want the IAACE to shine. Just last year, we wrote a brand new strategic plan, a 5-year strategic plan. And, we need to crack that open and kind of dig into it and see what needs changed, what hasn't been executed, what we need to continue to execute, and kind of what David touched upon, the ever-changing landscape. I sit on the school board in Madison, so I kind of see funding from our side and from the school side, and the competitiveness for the dollars, how things are changing with what those dollars can go to in our programming. And I just think it's important that we're there to meet it head on and to address our legislature and kind of put a positive vibe out for the IAACE. So that's kind of my main focus points there on why I want to run for president.
Thank you, Dustin. And then we also have Sheila now. Sheila is also running for secretary. So Sheila, why do you desire to be elected as the IAACE board secretary?
Well, I've had the privilege of being on the board for about 7 years. I took this year off, and I was secretary, and I really, really enjoyed being secretary. I like taking minutes. I like being in the know, and it's something that's in my talent pool. So,
Thank you, Sheila. Jen, do we have any questions that anybody submitted, any of our IAACE members? If not, then I'll continue with my questions. Okay. So we'll go back to the board members now. So the next question is, what are your top priorities for advancing adult education in Indiana during your term if you were elected? So we will start with Hannah.
All right. So I think the top priority among adult education for everyone is advocacy. I still meet people who, when I tell them what I do not realize that adult education exists in the way that we do it. The mindset is, oh, you get your GED because that's what everyone thinks it is, right? And get your GED and that's it. So just broadening the awareness of adult education, not just in local communities, but also continuing like with Adult Education Day at the State House, and just that overall awareness that I feel like IAAC has done a great job at doing over the last few years is really bringing adult ed to the forefront and getting our name out there and what it is we do and the different resources we offer. Even students that are in adult education, when we push out training opportunities, I had a student just a couple weeks ago say, I had no idea that there was this many resources for adults in the state of Indiana until she became an adult ed learner. So even within our own community of students, just continuing that awareness and that marketing almost of what adult education is, and then continuing the advocacy at the state and federal level that adult education is important. It does touch lives. It has a greater impact than just obtaining a certification. We do a lot with our students that goes beyond just education. Building relationships, friendships, moral support, cheerleaders. They're adult educators are, we take our education from the classroom that we know elementary teachers are so much more than just an education provider. And it's the same thing with adult education. And I think I'm surrounded by other people who have that same passion. And that would be my top priority, is keeping that passion going, showing our passion as adult educators to the state, to the federal level, and keeping us at the forefront of everyone's minds, or bringing us there for those who don't know.
Thank you, Hannah. So same question for Amy. What are your top priorities for advancing adult education in Indiana during your term?
My top priority is also advocacy for adult education and for advocacy within the prison. I do work in the prison setting, and I want to advocate to get more students enrolled, to get more students on our referral list. My main top priority is a goal for myself, and it's to learn how to be a better advocate. What can I do to help others? That is my main goal.
Thanks, Amy. Same question for Jane.
Yeah, hi. I think that adult education is so important. It gives adults better opportunities, and that, of course, I think impacts their children and their communities as a whole. And so I think it's really important, especially this year, I think advocacy, making sure people understand how important adult education is. And not only the policymakers, but also our communities, just raising the awareness of how important adult education is. I work in the prison, so I think getting that message out there, making sure people understand how important adult education is for folks in prison and for their families. Most of my students have children. I think that them getting their education is going to have a positive impact on their families in the long run. And their communities. So I think raising that awareness of adult education is important. And of course, another priority is just supporting other adult educators. I think coming together and collaborating makes us better in teachers, and that in turn supports our students. So providing those opportunities to share ideas and give teachers opportunities to continue their education is so important. And supporting our students. So I think that would be another priority, would be making sure that we're coming together in support of our students in all of these ways.
Thanks, Jane.
Thank you.
Next, we have Lindsay. What are your top priorities for advancing adult education in Indiana?
Some of my top things would be supporting the different facilities in different regions. Regions, yeah, we're all part of Indiana, but each region has or can have its own diversity culturally. And I think that would be a big thing, understanding the needs of the people in each region. Also, getting the word out there of, yeah, we might be adult education, but that doesn't mean we can't serve late teenagers. I know so many teenagers don't see themselves as adults yet, but we can serve them too. Not every school is for everybody. And I think so many high school students are being pushed into college now, college career track. And if they want college, that is awesome. But some students are just hands-on type people, and with what we do, doing the hands-on with our certifications, I feel like it needs to be more known and accepted to go into those trades, and that we are here to help with that.
Thanks, Lindsay. Next, Julianne, what are your top priorities for advancing adult education in Indiana during your term?
Thank you. So I would say mine are twofold. One, similar to very many of us, just advocating outside of the IAACE, raising awareness. I think, as was mentioned, this idea that adult ed is just your GED or your HSE is a very common misconception, including for myself before really getting into the world of adult ed. So I really think that we need to be pushing out into our communities all that adult ed offers through certifications and WEIs and IETs, and letting everybody know, like, this is a viable pathway for improving your life. Even if you already had your high school diploma or your GED, there's so much more to offer. And I think that kind of gets swept under the rug when people talk about adult ed. So I really want to push for that. And the other side of that is pushing for participation within the IAACE. I feel like I think we just need to be bigger at cheerleaders and really promoting out to each other. Like, come on, what awesome things, what resources do you already have that I could use, and what can I help you with, and kind of building the collaboration amongst all the different regions. Because I also think that would push out, our information to the general public and community. Just kind of being a loud choir, working together. And, I'm looking at the number of people who have signed on today thinking, well, that can't be anywhere close to the number of members we have. How great would it be if more people were involved, even though they're not on the board, or even though they're, brand new. So kind of just really trying to promote action and activity within the IAACE memberships.
Thank you, Julianne. Next, we'll have Abby.
So my top two priorities, the first one would be professional development. I think that is the key to any successful program, is to make sure that you have employees and educators that are comfortable doing what they need to do and are knowledgeable in their field. With ELL and ABE teachers and instructors, I think that that's key to a successful program. I also think that it's always changing, and the more that we can collaborate together, I think the better it is just for adult education in general. And then my second one would be workforce development, especially in rural areas. I find that there is a huge need for, especially with us, because we're located in Frankfurt. And we have started doing IETs and WEIs with our ELL students and with our ABE students. And I think that there is a big need for smaller programs to be able to implement more IETs and be able to offer our students more than just, here's your diploma, congratulations, see you later. No, I think we need to offer more services in the ways of career paths, even in rural areas.
Thanks, Abby. Next, we'll have Mark. What are your top priorities for advancing adult education in Indiana?
I would say that a lot of it has to do with advocacy and getting out the information to people. I found that in the position I'm at right now, that a lot of people don't even understand what happens. Working through the Department of Corrections as a site manager, there's a lot of people that don't know that what's happening here, and I believe in a lot of programs around the state. I think they need to have a better understanding, because I do think that it's very important. We have a lot of, by what we do with our students here, it's extremely important because it really affects their futures, and which in turn affects the community. And so the community's getting to have a better understanding how this is beneficial to them is very important. And I believe that we need to push this a little bit more. I also would like to see a lot of collaboration here with a number of different things, not only through our DOC, but through programs around the state, because there's a lot of ideas and thoughts on how we can work together to do some things to improve and get better, and to give our knowledge to each other so that we can be better for our students in our programs.
Thanks, Mark. Next, we'll have Leo. What are your top priorities for advancing adult education in Indiana?
So everybody has said about advocacy. I think that that's super important. So how do we actually do that, right? I think we have to leverage, 2025 and be able to get information out there, be able to share on social media, TikTok, X, Facebook, Instagram, whatever those media outlets that are available to us at no cost, I think is super important. We can sit here and talk about advocacy, but if we don't have a clear picture of who we're trying to reach and how we're going to reach them, then I think it sort of kind of just falls on deaf ears. Again, I joined adult education less than a year ago, and I had no clue what we were doing. And that to me, I still find that a little bit like astonishing, that there are so many people that just aren't aware. And I think that that's where that advocacy piece comes in. Our statistics show about 12%, and I would assume that the rest of you in your county is probably hover around the same percentage of people that do not have a high school diploma or higher. That's thousands of people in our counties. And I would venture to say that you don't have that in your classrooms. And I don't come anywhere close to meeting that either in our classrooms. And we cover Kosciuszko and Fulton County. So we're looking at about 13,000 people that either A, don't care to do anything about their HSE, or, want to upskill themselves, or B, they just don't know that we exist. So I think definitely leveraging those resources is important. But the other part with the collaboration piece, I think when I had been interviewed, that was one of the things that I had mentioned as me wanting to be involved with the collaboration piece. I think that we can't all be Michael Jordan. If you understand that reference, there's got to be a Scottie Pippen. There's got to be a Dennis Rodman. There's got to be a Tony Kukoc, and Armstrong. So I think that each one of us has a certain role to play within the IAACE, and definitely being creating ambassadors. I think Julianne had mentioned it or alluded to it, and I'll just take it on a little bit further, bringing people to IAACE, getting people involved, getting people engaged. We, as program directors or as PDFs within our programs, being able to create ambassadors of our own. And who's our biggest ambassador? Our student. If our student is liking and sharing our posts, what we talk about, they can echo it out in the streets, in the circles that we don't have access to. I think that's super important. And just sort of having that uniform idea of, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. These are the points that we're going to hit. This is what adult education is. This is why it matters. This is why it should matter to you. I think that that's definitely something that I would be able to help with, that I would hope, anyone else, I would, encourage you to think about that and just how do we tackle that?
Thanks, Leo. And then Laura, same question. What are your top priorities for advancing adult education in Indiana?
Sure. My top priority is also on the advocate side, but I really look at it as more of a broad picture of what can we do for the community and what's the impact that our students are able to make within their communities by coming to us and working to get their education and their workforce certifications, the specific areas that they're interested in, and being able to show that growth for each student. One of the things that I find I enjoy most is working with other educators and helping them to start new programs. I'm in a rural area, very small town, and we have developed a lot of great relationships with our employers so that we're able to really have that fast track for our students to be able to move directly from the classroom into good high-paying jobs with the workforce certifications they achieve in our classes. So I love the lifelong learning aspect of it and enjoy working with the student, also working with the community to build that impact. And I think those stories can make a huge difference for us in terms of our growth in the state of Indiana. And again, being able to support other educators at various stages of their program, I think is very rewarding and something that I can continue to do.
Thanks, Laura. Now we'll move on to our secretary candidates. So Maeve, same question. What are your top priorities for advancing adult education in Indiana during your term?
Yeah. So when I started in adult education, I was kind of shocked by just the general lack of resources for like curricular resources for students and then also for teachers. There's so many things that you can find for K-12. There's so many resources you can find for college students, but our group of students sometimes are just missing. I feel passionately about the professional development committee and making sure that IAACE in our community has all of the resources available. When I'm training a new teacher or when I'm working with a student, I like to tell them, you don't need to know all the answers. You just need to know who to ask and where to look. And I think that that is the same for our IAACE members. If they don't know something, that's okay. But here's where you can look on our website. Here's how you can find some pre-made lessons or some scope and sequences or skills, whatever you're looking for. And I think in the secretary position, that's something I could help with, just helping get things organized and clear so everyone has access to all the good resources that individually we all have. and just make it a bigger sharing opportunity so we can further grow our bank of teachers.
Thanks, Maeve. Sheila, same question. What are your top priorities for advancing adult education in Indiana during your term?
Just a second. I lost my notes. Where did they go? Just a second. I had them right here. And I clicked a button and they went away. I'll do it this way. My top priority for advancing adult education during my term as Secretary of the State, as a secretary, is to strengthen support systems for both educators and learners. I want to ensure that teachers have access to resources, training, and collaboration they need to meet the diverse needs of adult learners, especially those who face barriers to traditional education. At the same time, I'm passionate about expanding access to programs that offer not just academic instruction, but also life skills, job readiness, and pathways to further education and employment. By fostering strong communication, sharing practices, and advocating for inclusive, learner-centered policies, I believe we can create a more connected, empowered adult education community across our state.
Thanks, Sheila. All right, then we'll move on to our president-elect nominees. So David, what are your top priorities for advancing adult education in Indiana during your term?
Well, mine are tied together somewhat and form a nice little circle, beginning with remaining at the forefront of adult education outcomes in this country. Indiana's a leader. I want to see it stay there. And as it relates to that, advocating for funding that is meaningful, at meaningful levels for the return that we provide to the state for what we do. So meaningful funding as well, and extending our reach so that we increase our community awareness and leverage our students who've already moved through our program. They're some of our best advertising. So I think that advocacy, as many people have mentioned today, as well as marketing, are critical for our continued growth in IAACE and in adult education.
Thank you, David. And then Dustin, our other president-elect. Oh, sorry. Did somebody say something? Okay. We'll keep going. I heard somebody say Ange, so I was like, what?
Yeah, it sounded like somebody said, "Hey, Ange."
I know. That's why I was like, okay. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So we'll move on to Dustin, who's our other president-elect nominee. What are your top priorities for advancing adult education in Indiana during your term?
I think I kind of touched on earlier, and that is, again, digging back into that strategic plan, looking at our 4 pillars: professional development, collaboration, advocacy, and resource development, and how those pillars fit into our local programming. There's been tons of great ideas put out today by everybody that's running. Obviously, everybody's great candidates, and the people that are elected onto the board, it's as the leader, as the state chair, president, whatever you want to call it, it's helping the board and working with our Department of Workforce Development leadership to make sure we're kind of filling it into the pillars and delivering the right political message. Again, kind of it's been talked about a little bit earlier with David and myself, both kind of times are like a changing, and it's important as the IAACE, as advocates, that we are meeting with our leaders and crafting the appropriate political message to bank on those dollars and make sure we continue to get the dollars that we get and that we get more dollars. I don't know how many people know, like there's obviously the whole Excel Center stuff and the competition level at the state between the Excel Center and us and the DWD. When I say us, I mean the DWD, super competitive. So it's just making sure that our message is crafted appropriate, that we're getting it out to our leaders, what we are doing, showing continue to show the resources that we have in terms of our results versus their results, and that we're not confrontational. Again, crafting the appropriate political message, delivering our strategic plan, and making sure that we continue to stay as a leader. They kind of mentioned that when I sit in on that State Adult Leadership Institute, people were blown away to hear things that Indiana was already doing, like having a lobbyist. A lot of states didn't even know that was a thing when we set into it. And, some states are now looking into how they can do that. So continue to keep us at the forefront and continue to bring those dollars in and crafting the correct political message with our state leaders.
Thank you, Dustin. Does anybody else have a question that you want to put in the chat, or else I'll continue with mine? Caroline, do you have one? Just kidding. I'm sorry to put you on the spot. All right, so we'll do one more question that I do have. What specific skills, strengths, or expertise would you bring to the IAACE board? So if you need a chance to think about it. So what specific skills, strengths, or expertise would you bring to the IAACE board? All right, and we can start back with Hannah if you're ready, or you can take some time if you need to think.
Nope, I'm ready. I've been first one every time. Might as well jump right in. So I come from a unique position in that I did create and run the online adult education program for the state, so complete virtual program. I know many programs are doing different versions of it, and that is amazing. I love hearing about the different takes that people have on it across the state. We started in 2016, very tiny, and then we're thrown into it, of course, in 2020 when chaos hit. And I think then everyone kind of realized when they were forced to do it, it's not so hard to do it. But for some people, it is still very scary jumping into that digital world. So I do bring, that expertise and the tried and true methods that we have found as far as retention and delivering an online platform. I'm also very energetic and passionate about adult education. I love speaking, and I don't mind speaking in front of people. I know that's an interesting skill set to bring up. I know it's not for everyone, so I'm not afraid to get up in front of people and talk about what I love. And I tell anyone that I don't work a day in my life. I truly love my job, and it never feels like a day's work. And when you're truly passionate and love what you do, it's easy to talk about with passion and convey that excitement to other people. So I don't know if that's exactly a skill exactly, but it definitely is something I feel like I can convey and represent adult education positively and in a professional manner across the state.
Thank you, Hannah. Next, we have Amy. What specific skills, strengths, or expertise would you bring to the IAACE board?
At this point, I don't know that I have anything specific. I can tell you that I'm authentic. I'm not afraid of hard work. I love learning new things, and I think I'm going to learn a lot if I get put on this board. I'm confident once that I learn how the board works and what is needed of me, that I can bring strengths to the board. I'm terrible at these questions, answering these questions. I think every board, every position needs a leader and a follower. I do think I am a follower, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's good that you can delegate something to me and I will give 100%, but also know that I can step up and be a leader when needed.
Thanks, Amy. Next we have Jane.
Yeah, hi. I enjoy planning and collaborating. I've got prior work experience that brought those skills together. I also currently volunteer on a board for a historic home. And I also am on a committee for my town's hike, bike, and paddle. So I enjoy planning things. I like coming up with ideas with folks, and I like setting a course to get things done. So I enjoy that. I also have a professional background in communications and marketing, which may or may not be helpful for you guys, which I would, of course, love to share anything that I have with that knowledge with IAACE. I was a copywriter for web content. I edited podcasts, and I worked on marketing and social media things for different companies over the years, or different things. So that's another skill that I could bring. And I enjoy talking to people. I would be definitely comfortable chatting with folks and advocating. And those are some things that I've also done in the past. So I look forward to bringing those skills with me. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. Next, we have Lindsay. What specific skills, strengths, or expertise would you bring to the IAACE board?
I have a background in special education, and I feel bringing that with me touches on not just the adults who just for whatever reason haven't furthered their education, but the ones that specifically struggled in doing it, and getting the help that they need there. I also really enjoy collaboration with other professionals, getting what feedback they have, but also giving them the feedback. I have actually given professional developments in schools and here at Wagler in the past.
Thank you, Lindsay. Next, we will have Julianne.
Well, I've noticed that all of our unique skills are pretty similar. There must be a reason we're all we've all been nominated. I think one of my really big things is I'm just an energetic, happy person, and which I'm very grateful about. But I have a lot of energy and a willingness to help. I like helping people. I like helping people feel included into things. So I think that I would be really good at, the IAACE in terms of getting people to become involved and feel a part of the party. We're not just watching, we're in the party. Oh, look, now we're all dancing and we're all just getting into it. And before you know it, just everybody's having a great time together. I think I'm good at having people enjoy, the moments. And I think that that's going to be really important if we're pushing collaboration. Hannah mentioned that, it's not work for her, which is awesome. And I feel her on that. And I think an awesome goal would be that more of our people feel that way. And I think I'm good at that. I think I'm good at helping people have fun and get it and want to become involved. I do also with my decade or so in education. I've worked with students across the board from inclusion classrooms and special ed to honors students at private, fancy schools. And I think that I have a nice array of experience that will let me, be thinking of all the different types of students that we're going to have coming through our doors and how to best help them as adult educators. So I think that that's kind of a nice little secondary. And I do have some experience in marketing, but not as much as Jane. So I'm not going to really build myself up there too much.
Thanks, Julianne. Next, we have Abby.
As a site coordinator for a smaller facility, I kind of do it all. So I wear most of the hats from recruitment. I do orientation. I run our Facebook page, all of our social media, enters, instructing, IETs, grant writing. All of those things I am very knowledgeable in, and I would be more than happy to share any of those with any of the educators, or perhaps do something with the IAACE. as far as professional development goes. And I also love to plan things. So I feel like I could hopefully be able to help with the IAACE in collaboration with COABE in 2026.
Thank you, Abby. Next, we have Mark.
I had a lot of experience in the last 37 years in education, being in a teacher and administrative role. And it's given me a lot of opportunities to develop programming towards community, really working with the community in development of understanding what's happening. And so I've had some planning availability that I've used, and some experience in getting those plans to follow through fruition. Also had a lot of things with professional development, working with teachers and getting those opportunities to work with them in their growth. And like to have a good collaborative approach and really working together as a team and reaching the goals we've had set in front of us. So it's been some great opportunities in the past.
Thank you, Mark. Next we have Leo.
Yes. So I think for me, some of the characteristics that I exemplify are passion, um, creativity, authenticity, and determination. And one of the things that I'm not a yes man person. And uh, I don't know. I think it's important to be able to have perspective. I think it's important to be able to roll up your sleeves and get to work on what we have to do. Obviously, with the leadership of IAACE, um, it takes a collaborative effort. And I'm, I guess, going off of the sports term again, I'm that rookie looking for that supermax deal, right? So I'm on fire about adult ed. I have been since when I interviewed almost a year ago actually. And with my role as director for Warsaw Adult Ed, I know I'm self-aware enough to realize what we do good and what we do not so good in for Warsaw Adult Ed, and just being honest with myself, with our team, I think is important. And just having that transparency, I think is also important to say, hey, we're not doing this real good, but maybe we could do it this way. I don't mind failing. I failed. I've failed. Doesn't make me a failure, but there's plenty of times that I failed. Dropped out of college, didn't succeed that first time, and I started working for the RV industry, north of Kosciuszko into Elkhart County, and it really taught me some really good, valuable life lessons. And I'm a person that um, cares, and at times probably cares too much for our students, but that's because I want the best for them, because I see the journey that my family took to be able to, come to this country. So everybody has a story, everyone. And I know that you would agree with me that, our students um, come with baggage sometimes, come with personal, um, hardships. And that's something that we have to navigate day in and day out. So I think for me, just having that authentic piece of, hey, I legitimately care about you and your success. So this is what we're gonna do to make sure that, that we help you. So I think that's important. You're gonna get a collaborator in me. You're gonna get someone energetic that shows compassion for those around us, and that truly wants to make an impact. So I think yeah, that's what I've got.
Thank you, Leo. And then Laura, same question.
In terms of strengths, excuse me, I'm going to cough here in just a second. Sorry about that. In terms of my strengths and areas that I feel I have some expertise. I am a problem solver. I enjoy brainstorming and working with individuals in the classroom, as well as other instructors, also other coordinators. In terms of expertise side, on that side of it, really building relationships is something I focus on, developing the IETs and WEIs and really building those relationships with the employers as well to make those pathways smooth for our students. Sorry. In terms of really working with IAACE, really looking at helping to grow the membership there and again, just helping everyone feel like there's a place for them in this environment and that we can really grow together. I apologize. I'm not feeling well today and I'm having trouble spitting anything out without coughing. But anyway, I enjoy building those relationships with the individuals in our programs and helping them to grow their individual programs as well.
Thank you, Laura. Hope you feel better soon. Next, we'll go to our secretary candidates. So Maeve, same question. What specific skills, strengths, or expertise would you bring to the board secretary position?
Yeah, I think in general, my biggest strength is that whatever I do, I'm going to do it wholeheartedly. I'm going to give 100% of myself and everything that I'm able to give. In the year that I've been on the board of directors, I've worked in the conference planning committee, the COABE conference for 2026. I've started helping with the teacher talk presentations, and I like to be able to just invest and give what I can. So, and like I mentioned earlier, I am more of a behind the scenes person. I'm probably not going to be the one up on the stage getting everybody excited, but I can be the person behind stage, making sure that things run smoothly and that systems are in place for success. So that's what I plan on bringing if I'm selected for the secretary position.
Thank you, Maeve. And then Sheila, same question. What specific skills, strengths, or expertise would you bring to the IAACE board secretary position?
Well, I bring the experience of having served on the IAACE board as a board member, treasurer, secretary, and president. These roles have given me a deep understanding on the board's operations and a clear vision on how we can continue to grow and support adult education in Indiana. I'm detail-oriented, dependable, and I'm committed to collaboration. In addition to my board experience, I bring this perspective of both a classroom teacher and the professional development facilitator for Region 8. I understand the day-to-day challenges that educators face, and I'm passionate about advocating for their needs while keeping the focus on student success. I have experience in building programs, writing curriculum, and mentoring other educators. And these skills have allowed me to contribute both strategically and creatively to the board initiatives that we have.
Thank you, Sheila. And then we'll move to our president-elect candidates. So David, what specific skills, strengths, or expertise would you bring to the IAACE president-elect position?
Well, relationship building is a hallmark, I think, of mine, along with my passion for adult ed, and I think my tenacity. Anybody who knows me knows I can be tenacious when it's something that I feel is a principle, when it's something that I feel strongly about and passion for, you will bring out my best. So I promise that if I am elected, I will give you my best as I do to my students at every opportunity.
Thank you, David. And then Dustin, our other candidate for president-elect, what specific skills, strengths, or expertise would you bring to the IAACE president-elect position?
Yeah, thanks, Angie. I think I bring a wealth of leadership experience. I just completed a 2-year term as being the president of the Boys and Girls Club of Jefferson County, a nonprofit. We had went through several leaders leading up to when I became the president. We brought in a good leader. We're hitting financial benchmarks. We're at our highest daily average of membership that we've ever had. Also, I just did the State Adult Leadership Institute through COABE, so I bring that knowledge. And then also sitting on the school board. So I sit on nonprofits. I sit in leadership positions, building the relationships, understanding how the dollars flow. I control our own budget here in Jennings County. Somebody mentioned earlier, kind of doing it all. We're a very small program, so writing the WEIs, writing the IETs, managing the budget monthly, sometimes daily, to see how it goes. So I certainly understand being in the weeds and doing all that. Like I'm kind of the one-man show here also in terms of those things. So experience and leadership, knowledge, I think I bring to the table in this position.
Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you.
So just on behalf of the Nominations and Election Committee, which is myself, Adrienne Carroll, and Lisa Cruey, I just want to thank you all for just being so willing to be nominated for these different positions, board member, secretary, president-elect. I believe all of you guys are worthy and great candidates. You guys, the answers you gave are just phenomenal. I just want to encourage you as a Nominations and Election Committee person that even if you do not get elected, you guys are phenomenal. We would love for you to just stay involved, like join a committee. You don't have to be, I think a lot of times people think you just have to be a board member to be on a committee for IAACE, which is not true at all. And so please join a committee, even if you're not, elected, because we would love to have you. The more we can get all of our IAACE members involved, the better our IAACE program and everything would be. So please just stay involved, stay active, help with the conference committee. COABE 2026 is coming to Indiana next year. We need as much help as we can get with that to volunteer. We have to have a certain number of volunteers for that to keep, that going. So please just stay involved and stay active in your membership for IAACE. So, and then I will give it to Jen just to give last comments about how the election process works and all of that, how the ballot's going to go out. I think all of you have heard that, but if she just wants to say that one more time so everybody's aware.
Absolutely. The ballot will be released on Wednesday. It will go out via email and also on the website. As far as this recording will be posted along with the ballot. It'll go out in the email. It'll also get posted today on our YouTube channel and go out on social media as well. The election is we're electing 3 members from the board members at large candidates, and of course, 1 president-elect and 1 secretary. The ballots will close, or the election does close on the 24th of April at midnight Eastern Standard Time. If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to any member of the Nominations Elections Committee or Katie, our president. And Katie, do you have any closing words?
Just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for taking your time and being here today. It was wonderful to see you all. And for all those that have to vote, good luck, because that was a tough group there. You all did great. Those were hard questions. I'm glad it wasn't that hard I didn't have to answer any questions. So everyone have a great rest of your day.